Hey guys, we're going to look at writing and solving systems one more time with those word problems because it can be really tricky sometimes. So let's take a look. The FCCLA members brought 85 cookies and brownies to sell at lunch. They sold cookies for $1 each and brownies for $1.50 each. So remember when we wrote equations, each was kind of a big deal, so it's still a big deal here. They sold all the cookies and brownies for a total of $107.50. How many brownies did the FCCLA sell? So this time they're asking just for brownies, but I have two things I need to kind of solve for, or two variables that I still need to include in my equation, and my two equations I still need to solve for. So I know that they brought 85 cookies and brownies. So remember, first thing I need to do, write down my two variables. So I am going to have C is the number of cookies. And then B is going to be the number of brownies. Okay, and so now I also know that the cookies were $1 each, and then the brownies were $1.50 each, and then they sold all of them for a total of $107.50. So how many brownies? So I'm going to set up my two equations. So I know that they brought 85 total together. So I know that the number of cookies plus the number of brownies is going to give me 85 total. Then I'm going to keep all my money in the same equation. And we kind of talked about that. You want to keep all your money in the same equation there. So my cookies sell for $1 and my brownies sell for $1.50. And I made a total of $107.50. Now I have to decide, how do I want to solve this? So this probably way more lends itself to elimination, which really actually helps us out in the end because I want to eliminate cookies and just solve for brownies. So notice that my cookies, the coefficient of both of those are the same, but they don't have opposite signs. So I need to make the one of the two equations, doesn't matter which one you decide, to have the opposite sign. So what I'm going to have here is I'm going to have negative. So basically what I'm going to do is multiply this by -1. So I have -1c minus b is equal to -85. And then I have 1c plus 150b is equal to 107.50. And so now I can eliminate the cookies and just solve for brownies, and then I'm done. So I'll add these two equations together. So -1 plus 1 makes 0. That's what we wanted it to make, so that's good. Then I have -1. Remember that variable in front of that, if there's not one, is a 1. -1 plus $1.50 is going to be, or 1.50 is going to be 0.50b is equal to $22.50 there. And so then lastly, I'm going to divide by 0.50 or 0.5, same thing. So I'm going to take 22.50 and divide by 0.5, and I get the brownies bought and sold were 45. So you have 45 total brownies. And then I don't even have to plug it in and solve for cookies because I didn't ask for it. So just be really careful about that. Don't make it harder than what it is. All right, so Santa's Wonderland charges $16 for adults and $12 for children under 13 years old. Last Friday, 250 people entered Santa's Wonderland for a total of $30,640. How many adults entered Santa's Wonderland? So they're asking for just one of the variables again. But I have two things going on here. I have children and I have adults and I have money and I know the number of people that they brought. So let's first define our variables. So let's say A is going to be the number of adults that entered. I'll say the park, essentially. And then C is going to be the number of children. That's going to be the number of children that entered Park, Santa's Wonderland. I'll do SW. in the parentheses there, so that you're not confused about where did part come from. Okay, so now I'm going to look at, I have some money. So I know that adults are $16 and 12 is for children. And I know that they made a total of 3,640. So I'm going to have 16 times the number of adults that entered plus 12 times the number of children that entered is going to be 3,640. That's all my money, the same equation. I also know that 250 people entered. So those 250, they're either adults or they're children. So I know that the number of adults plus the number of children is going to be a total of all the people that entered, which would be 250. So now I can use elimination or substitution or graphing, as all of those work. It wants to know how many adults. Well, so what essentially I want to do is eliminate the number of children. Well, that's when I would use elimination here. So I'm going to eliminate children. Notice that I have 12 as my coefficient in one of my equations, and then 1 is in the other one. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 12 to get my new equation. So I have negative 12a minus 12c is equal to negative 3,000. And then I'm just going to move this one down here right underneath so that I can add those two together. So I have 16a plus 12c is equal to 3,640. And so I have negative 12 plus 16. That's going to make a 4a. And then I have negative 12 plus 12. That makes 0. That's what we wanted, right? So eliminate the number of children because I want to know how many adults entered. And so then I'm going to add negative 3,000 plus 3,640. So I have 640 and then divide by 4. And so the number of adults that entered would be 160. So 160 adults entered. I could then, if the question asked for both of them, you could then go back and plug it in and find children, but it's not asking for both of them. It's just asking for one. So I can stop there. All right, so just some final notes. I'm just trying to make sure that we kind of harp on determining the variables first. You want to make sure you know what you're talking about. Determine those variables first. Then go back and rewrite your system. Remember that you want to keep the money in the same equation. So all of your money will go in the same equation almost always. Not every single time, but almost always, especially if you're talking about money and something else. If you're talking about all of it is money, then you'll have your two separate equations that are a little bit different. But if you're talking about money and something else, like when we talked about the number of people that attended and the total cost, the number of cookies and brownies that we brought and how much we made. So that we had two different things there. And then remember that there are going to be two variables and two equations. So here you may just have to answer for one of those variables. So, you might want to use elimination or substitution. That will help you just get one of those variables. So that way you don't have to go back and plug it in and just have some extra work for yourself. So make it easy on yourself and pay attention to what they're asking for.